The Battle of Pliska, also known as the Battle of the Vărbitsa Pass, was a series of engagements between the forces of the Byzantine Empire, assembled from various parts of the empire and led by Emperor Nikephoros I and the First Bulgarian Empire, ruled by Khan Krum. The Byzantines plundered and burned the Bulgar capital, Pliska, which gave the Bulgarians time to block the mountain passes of the Balkan Mountains, the only way out for the Byzantine army. The final battle took place on 26 July 811, likely at the Vărbitsa Pass, located in the eastern part of the Balkans. There, the Bulgarians used ambush tactics and a surprise night attack to trap and annihilate the Byzantine forces, killing nearly the entire army, including the emperor himself. After the battle, Krum had Nikephoros' skull encased in silver and used it as a drinking cup, one of the most well-documented instances of the skull cup ritual. The Battle of Pliska marked one of the worst defeats in Byzantine history. The loss deterred the Byzantine rulers from sending armies into northern Balkan territory for more than 150 years afterward. This allowed for increased Bulgarian influence and expansion westward and southward into the Balkan Peninsula, significantly enlarging the territory of the First Bulgarian Empire. Early campaign. When Nikephoros I became emperor in 802, he aimed to reincorporate the territories under Bulgar control back into the empire. In 807, he launched a campaign that reached only as far as Adrianople, achieving nothing due to a conspiracy back in the capital. However, this act of aggression gave Krum a reason to initiate military actions against the Byzantine Empire, with the primary goal of expanding south and southwest. In the following year, Bulgar forces penetrated the Struma Valley and defeated the Byzantines. They captured 1,100 liters of gold, approximately 332 to 348 kilograms, and killed many enemy soldiers, including all strategoi, or generals, and most commanding officers. In 809, Krum personally led a siege against the fortress of Serdica, modern-day Sofia, capturing the city and killing the entire garrison of 6,000 troops. Preparations for the invasion. In 811, Nikephoros I organized a massive military expedition to conquer Bulgaria once and for all. His army was composed of troops from the Anatolian and European Tamata, military districts, and the Imperial Tagmata, Imperial Guard. In addition, the army was joined by numerous irregular troops who expected a quick victory and the opportunity to plunder. The campaign was believed to be easy, and many high officials and aristocrats accompanied the emperor, including his son Starakius and his brother-in-law Michael I Rangabe. The entire army numbered approximately 22,000 soldiers. The sack of Pliska. The army first assembled in May, and by 10 July they had established camp at the fortress of Marseilles, near the Bulgarian border. Nikephoros sought to confuse the Bulgarians and conducted several feigned attacks over the next 10 days. Krum assessed the situation and realized he could not repel such a large force. He offered peace, but Nikephoros arrogantly rejected the offer. The Byzantine historian Theophanes wrote that the emperor was blinded by his wicked thoughts and the counsel of his advisors, who thought like him. Some military leaders viewed the invasion as unwise, but Nikephoros was confident of success. Nikephoros advanced into Bulgarian territory, marching through the Balkan passes towards the capital, Pliska. On July 20th, he divided the army into 3 columns, each marching along a separate route towards Pliska. They met with minimal resistance. After 3 days, the Byzantines reached Pliska, which was defended by 12,000 elite Bulgar troops. The Byzantines defeated both these defenders and an additional 15,000 Bulgarian reinforcements, hastily assembled. On July 23rd, the Byzantines quickly entered the undefended capital and plundered the city and surrounding countryside. Krum once again attempted to negotiate peace. According to Theophanes, Krum proclaimed, "Behold, you have won, so take what you wish and go in peace." But Nikephoros, overconfident in his success, ignored the offer, believing that all of Bulgaria was now within his grasp. Michael the Syrian, the 12th century patriarch of the Syrian Jacobites, described in his chronicle the brutality and cruelty of Nikephoros' forces during the sack of Pliska. Nikephoros, the emperor of the Romans, marched through the Bulgarian lands. He prevailed and killed many of them. He reached their capital, seized it, and destroyed it. His savagery reached such a level that he ordered their small children to be taken out, tied to the ground, and crushed beneath millstones. The Byzantine army looted and plundered, burned unharvested fields, slashed the tendons of oxen, and slaughtered sheep and pigs. Nikephoros took control of Krum's treasury, locked it away, and did not allow his own troops to access it, further deepening the soldiers' resentment.
The battle. After looting and devastating the Bulgarian capital, Pliska, in mid-July 811, the Byzantine army under Emperor Nikephoros I believed that total victory was within reach. However, behind the smoldering ruins of Pliska, Khan Krum was far from defeated. With swift resolve, he mobilized his people, including women, Avar mercenaries, and even received support from the Hungarians, who shared a vested interest in resisting Byzantine dominance in the Balkans. Krum began laying traps and ambushes in the mountain passes that were the only exits from Bulgarian territory. Nikephoros initially planned to march through Moesia and reach Serdica, modern-day Sofia, before returning to Constantinople. But intelligence reports on Bulgarian military preparations altered his decision. In what would prove to be a fatal error, he chose the shortest route home, through the Vărbitsa Pass in the Balkan Mountains. On July 25, 811, the overconfident Byzantine army entered the narrow pass without proper reconnaissance. What awaited them was not an open road, but a massive wooden palisade blocking their escape. From the surrounding high ground, Bulgarian forces had already taken strategic positions, prepared to strike from above. Byzantine cavalry scouts quickly informed Nikephoros that the pass was blocked and that Krum's troops were monitoring from the ridges. The emperor, finally grasping the trap he had walked into, panicked and reportedly declared multiple times, "Even if we had wings, we could not escape this danger." Before the Byzantines could retreat, the entrance to the valley was also blocked by Bulgarian forces. The trap had been fully set. A devastating assault from above. Rather than attempting to storm the Bulgarian barricades, Nikephoros ordered the army to set up camp. Many of his generals voiced concern, but the emperor ignored their advice. From the heights above, Bulgarian troops began pounding their shields, creating a thunderous, intimidating noise that sowed terror among the trapped Byzantines. For 3 days, the demoralized Byzantine army remained stuck in the valley. Exhausted, starving, and out of options, morale crumbled. On the third night, the Bulgarians quietly tightened their encirclement, organizing a coordinated assault to crush the enemy. At dawn on July 26, 811, the Bulgarians stormed down from the hills, launching a sudden and brutal attack. The Byzantine Imperial Guard, Tagmata, was the first to be struck. Though elite and battle-hardened, they were overwhelmed. They attempted to hold their ground, but without support or maneuverability, they were slaughtered. Witnessing this, other units panicked and began to flee. As the Byzantines fled southward, they encountered a muddy river that proved nearly impossible to cross. Many fell into the water and were trapped in the thick mud. When waves of terrified soldiers arrived behind them, chaos erupted. They trampled their own comrades, and the river was soon choked with corpses. The pursuing Bulgarians crossed easily over the pile of bodies, continuing the relentless pursuit. Those Byzantines who managed to cross the river faced yet another horror: a tall wooden wall and deep trench built by the Bulgarians to block the southern exit. Many attempted to climb the wall, some reaching halfway before being struck by arrows or falling to their deaths. Others tried to set the wall on fire, but the tactic failed and only led to more casualties. Nearly the entire Byzantine army was annihilated. Some were cut down by the sword, others drowned in the river, and many died of wounds near the barricade. The death of the emperor and its consequences. According to contemporary sources, only a handful of Byzantine soldiers survived the disaster. Among the fallen were prominent nobles like Theodosius Salibara and Caesenius Trophilius. the strategos of the Anatolics and the strategos of Thrace, and the commanders of the elite excubitors and Vidla Tagmata. But the most notable casualty was Emperor Nikephoros I himself. Chroniclers reported that he died amid filth and chaos, some suggesting he was trampled or stabbed as the army disintegrated. His son, Sterasius, was rescued by the imperial guard, but sustained a paralyzing wound to his neck. Though he briefly assumed the throne, he died within 6 months from his injuries. As a final act of humiliation and triumph, Krum ordered Nikephoros' head to be mounted on a spike, the skull cleaned, plated in silver, and used as a drinking cup, a ritualistic practice that symbolized total dominance over one's enemies. Legacy and strategic impact. The Battle of Vărbitsa Pass stands as one of the most catastrophic defeats in Byzantine military history. The empire lost not just an emperor, but its army, high command, and political stability. More critically, the crushing loss halted Byzantine military operations north of the Balkans for over a century. No major campaigns were launched into Bulgarian territory again until the mid-10th century. For the Bulgarians, the victory was transformational. It allowed the First Bulgarian Empire to expand westward and southward, gaining influence over large parts of the Balkan Peninsula. Krum emerged as a national hero, not only for his tactical brilliance, but for defending his people against a vastly superior invading force. To historians, the battle exemplifies the dangers of imperial overconfidence, poor logistics, and the consequences of underestimating a determined enemy. The annihilation at Vărbitsa Pass serves as a haunting reminder of how arrogance and strategic neglect can turn a victorious campaign into a catastrophic rout.